Hello, welcome to World of Microbe. This is the part 2 of disciplines of forensic biology. In previous video, we have already discussed about the process of sample collection and storage. In basic services provided by full-service crime laboratories, we have discussed case receipt unit, biology division, serology division, firearms unit, document examination unit, photography unit. The link of previous video is in the description. Now in this video, we will discuss about optional field, molecular anthropology, forensic botany, forensic odontology, forensic serology. Do like.
Forensic pathology is a medical specialty that focuses on determining the cause of death. Deaths can be categorized by manner of death, which describes how someone died, or by cause of death, which explains why they died. Manner of death: natural, death from natural causes; accident, death from an accident; suicide, death by homicide, death caused by another person, either intentionally or unintentionally; undetermined, death where the manner of death is unknown; cause of death: gunshot wound, death caused by a gunshot wound; asphyxia, death caused by asphyxiation, a condition arising when the body is deprived of oxygen, causing unconsciousness or death; death caused by injury of the body by forceful impact, falls, or physical attack with a dull object; drowning, death caused by drowning; hanging, death caused by hanging; strangulation, death caused by strangulation; smothering, death caused by covering their nose and mouth so that they suffocate. Other types of death: occupational death by the environment of employment; brain death, death where the brain has stopped functioning; sudden unexpected death, death that occurs suddenly and unexpectedly. Other ways to categorize death include perinatal or neonatal event, infection, chronic medical condition, communicable disease, non-communicable disease, injuries. Forensic pathology is a medical specialty that focuses on determining the cause of death. Forensic pathologists are doctors who perform autopsies and use their findings to help solve crimes and civil cases, perform autopsies to determine the cause of death, collect evidence like secretions and trace evidence, identify the deceased if unknown, determine the death or injury, reconstruct how injuries occurred, evaluate information from law enforcement and historical records, and testify in court. Forensic pathologists investigate deaths that are unexpected, violent, or suspicious, deaths that occur during pregnancy or after pregnancy, deaths of infants and children without pre-existing medical conditions are suspected to be due to drugs, alcohol, or infectious diseases, deaths that are suspected to be due to environmental exposures. The cause of death can often be determined by performing an autopsy, observing surgically removed specimens under the microscope. Analysis of fluids taken from the body, such as blood or urine, also provides information about disease levels in the ocular fluid also help determine the time of death. Cells within the eyes release K at a certain rate, and samples are taken for analysis. Also, during autopsy, the amount of food in the stomach can also give an idea of the time of death. The body goes through several stages after death, including pallor mortis, alga mortis, rigor mortis, liver mortis, and decomposition. Rigor mortis is the stiffening of muscles after death. It's a sign of death that can help determine when someone died. The body loses adenosine triphosphate, ATP, which gives muscles energy. Muscle and shorten. Actin and myosin microfilaments adhere. It generally takes 24 hours for the body to be in full rigor. It can take up to 72 hours after death to dissipate. Stages. Onset: muscles begin to stiffen. Full stiffness: the body is fully rigid. Resolution: stiffness fades as decomposition occurs. Other pallor mortis: the skin pales due to blood pooling. Alga mortis: the body cools over time. Liver mortis: areas of pooled blood begin to take on a bruised-like discoloration. Liver mortis is a discoloration of the skin that occurs after death. It's also known as post-mortem lividity, hypostasis, or sugulation. Blood settles in the lower to gravity and lack of circulation. This causes a purplish-red discoloration of the skin. It's most noticeable in people with fair skin. It's first noticeable about an hour after death. It's well formed in about 3 to 4 hours after death. It's fixed in about 6 to 8 hours after death. It appears as a purple discoloration. Areas of lividity can turn white if areas of lividity can move to other dependent regions if the body is moved. Liver mortis is a sign of death. It can be used as evidence by investigators. Alga mortis is the post-mortem cooling of a body to match the temperature of its surroundings. It's a noticeable change that occurs in the first 24 to 48 hours after death. The term comes from Latin and translates, after death, the body stops circulating blood and producing heat. The body temperature slowly approaches the temperature of the room or surroundings. This happens through radiation, convection, conduction, and evaporation. Alga mortis is used to estimate the time between death and when the body was discovered. However, many variables affect the rate of cooling to use as a precise method. Accuracy is important when measuring body temperature because even small mistakes can affect the estimated time of. A post-mortem examination is performed by a medical examiner or forensic pathologist, usually during the investigation of criminal law cases and civil law cases in some jurisdictions. Coroners and medical examiners are also frequently asked to confirm the identity of remains. Forensic pathology is an application of medical jurisprudence. A pathologist is a medical doctor who has completed training in anatomical pathology and has subsequently specialized in forensic pathology. The forensic pathologist performs autopsy examinations with the goal of determining the cause of death as well as the possible manner of death. The autopsy report contains conclusions made relating to the following. The forensic pathologist performs autopsy with the goal of determining the cause of death as well as the possible manner of death. The autopsy report contains conclusions made relating to the following. Forensic pathology is pathology that focuses on determining the cause of death by examining a corpse. A post-mortem examination is performed by a medical examiner or forensic pathologist, usually during the investigation of and civil law cases in some jurisdictions. Coroners and medical examiners are also frequently asked to confirm the identity of remains. The pathological process, injury, or disease that directly results in or initiates a series of events that lead to a person's death, also called the mechanism of death, such as a bullet wound to the head, exsanguination caused, manual or ligature strangulation, myocardial infarction resulting from coronary artery disease, etc. The manner of death, the circumstances surrounding the cause of death, which, in most jurisdictions, include the following: homicide, accidental, natural, suicide. The autopsy also provides an opportunity for other issues raised by the death to be addressed, such as the collection of trace evidence or determining the identity of the deceased. Autopsies are performed when a death occurs, when an unexpected death occurs, when someone dies while not under the care of a physician, to solve criminal cases, when a mass disaster occurs and requires of the victims. The forensic pathologist examines and documents wounds and injuries, along with the possible causation of those injuries, at autopsy, at the scene of a crime and occasionally in a clinical setting, such as rape investigation or deaths in custody. Forensic pathologists collect and examine tissue specimens under the microscope, histology, to identify absence of natural disease and other microscopic findings such as asbestos bodies in the lungs or gunpowder particles around a gunshot wound. They collect and interpret toxicological specimens of body tissues and fluids to determine the chemical cause of accidental overdoses or deliberate. In mass disaster settings, forensic pathologists will work alongside forensic odontologists, forensics anthropologists as well as other forensic specialties with the goal of identifying the victims of the disaster. The process of identification involves the recovery of the victims, the collection of ante-mortem data, the initial examination along with the collection of evidence, and finally the comparison of the ante-mortem and post-mortem data gathered in order to identify those victims. They serve as expert witnesses in courts of law testifying in civil or criminal law cases. Forensic pathologists make great contributions to public health and preventative medicine by studying the dead. Forensic physicians, sometimes referred to as examiners or police surgeons, in the UK until recently, are medical doctors trained in the examination of, and provision of medical treatment to, living victims of assault, including sexual assault, and individuals who find themselves in police custody. By using their findings during autopsies, they can use their knowledge to prevent the death.